Hi, everybody. So, in this podcast, I'm going to talk about trauma and the body. Okay, the human mind is a finite thing. In other words, it can't. It's not infinite. It's infinite. It's infinite, but it's also finite. The things that it can store in your outside of your conscious awareness is infinite, but what you only have a finite space for what remains in your conscious awareness. Okay, because your mind can process all the information from your past and from your in your present all at the same time. So sometimes it just stores certain things, moves it in the back folder, back over there. Your body, though, some of them are stored in your body. The old mystics, the ancient mystics understood that a lot of information is stored in the bones. That's why they mummified the Egyptian priests and monarchy, because the information they knew is stored in the bone. The bone is the hardware, right? So they knew how to tap into that stored information resource and get the information they needed. Now, I don't know if that is how it still works, because human as a species is evolving. So I don't know if it works that way or if the body has developed a new device to store it. I don't know. But I do know that that information, the trauma that you go to, especially the childhood trauma, is stored in the body. It's stored in the way you react. It's stored in the body, and you can tell this by the way you react to things. Sometimes those reactions are absolutely and purely unconscious. It's amazing how sometimes you can watch your body reacting, and it's like you're looking at it from the outside. I mean, again, I have the ability to do this. I can watch my body like I'm outside looking at it. It's called dissociation. Again, that's a trauma from having gone through a lot of childhood trauma. So you learn to dissociate. To dissociate is how your mind deals with the intensity of the trauma. But dissociation does not necessarily have to be a bad thing. It allows me the ability to look at myself from outside looking in, right? So from a very objective perspective, so that I can look at what my body is doing from a purely logical and scientific and unemotional perspective. Okay, so trauma sometimes triggers your body to respond in ways that you're not even consciously aware of. Like, let's say, okay, personal example. So I was going to work and I was dressed up in my regular clothes. And as I was walking into work in my high heels, my body was shaking. And for the life of me, I could not figure out what the hell my body was shaking in terror. And to capture the moment, I texted my husband. And in that text, I kind of wrote down, like, why am I afraid? Why is my body terrified? I'm walking into work. I go here all the time, okay? I'm just going in for an interview for a different position. Why am I shaking in fear? Like, my body was shaking, and I was looking at it like, what the hell is going on? And then, me, I'm really introspective. So I thought, why am I doing that? And then I realized okay, so there's a fear of being seen. I have a fear of being seen. And why am I afraid of being seen? Because as a kid, when I was seen, that meant I was punished for something. When I was seen, it was either somebody punished me for being there, or being present, or being seen. Like, every time my mother saw me, that was punishment. I was abused, I was insulted, or something. I remember when I was little, I used to hide from my mother. Literally, I would hide in the bathroom and lock the door, just so I'm not seen by my mother. Right? So that because then my mother was the authority figure in my life at the time. So somehow that is projected to all the authority figures. So there's this fear that if I'm seen by this authority figure, I'll be hurt. But that's childhood trauma speaking, right? And that is not true. So that's one way your body shows you that my body showed me that I was responding from trauma. And so what you do with stuff like that is that you have to fix it. Is that you have to realize, okay, that is no longer true, and you have to reframe the way your body responds to stuff like that. Another example I'm going to give you is that, okay, so I just got married, and I realized that my husband is the kind that he wants like this level of oneness and level of where literally the two become one, like a whole. Now he has the Venus in Cancer, so like a whole like enmeshment, like, and I understand it in my head. I understand in my head what he wants. And I kept looking at this, and over time, I realized I don't have the ability for that. I don't even know how to do that. Because from when I was little, I have been self-sufficient. Not just that I struggle for survival on my own. Like I have encapsulated myself in this shell where I'm self-nurturing, self-sustaining, self-maintaining, self-regulating, everything self. I have never really like engaged another in a relationship to that matter, not even my mother. Because I realized the other day that my sister and I were 10 months apart. Listen to this, 10 months apart, okay? So my mother got pregnant with my sister when I was 3 months old. So can you imagine, at 3 months old, my mother became pregnant with my sister. So do you think she was breastfeeding me at 3 months when she was already pregnant? And 10 months later, when I was 10 months old, my other sister was born. Do you think that as a 10-month-old, with my mother carrying another baby, and she's in her 20s, you think early 20s for that matter, do you think she was able to give me what I needed to depend on her? No. As an infant, I learned not to depend on nobody. I learned that my cries will not be heard. I learned to eat a little bit, and somehow that little thing that I ate, I have to hold on to that because I don't know when the next one will come. So now, as an adult, food, I don't give it. Like when it comes to food, I eat food because I have to eat food. If I was never hungry, I would never eat. Because all of that came from that childhood of deprivation. Not just deprivation of material things, but deprivation of nurture, deprivation of security. So again, that's a trauma response from when I was little, but my body stored that information. So now I'm in a relationship. So we have to talk about it, and I have to say, okay, so this is what the situation is, and I'm learning to peel off those onion layers. But you gotta understand, everything you went through is stored in your body. You can never escape your past. Never. You have to get those memories again, and you have to look at them with fresh eyes to reframe the story you're telling yourself about it. Because until I saw that, I did not know that I was operating from the principle of I am self-contained, I am self-regulating, I am self-nurturing, I don't need nobody. That was the story I've told myself all my life. Well, guess what? If I keep telling myself that story, my relationship is going to suffer for it. Because what kept you safe as a child will destroy you as an adult. So you're supposed to go back and take a look at that specific story and reframe it. So that you can, almost put that memory to rest. Because everything you've been through is stored in your body. Okay, you may forget it, but it's stored in your body. That's why I really don't understand how people, like all these things that they do, hypnosis I don't even know. You cannot run away from yourself, bro. The best way to deal with yourself is take a look at the hard shit and fix it. You may not be able to fix it, but you can fix the way you look at it, where it's most productive. Does that make sense? Feel free to comment and like if this served you. All right, ciao.